Ladies and gentlemen, get your alliums ready to be tricoccummed in the Wild Edible World podcast. I'm only one of your hosts. My name's Michael.
And I'm Steve. It's the episode you've all been waiting for.
It's a shock that we haven't done it before.
Yeah, how is this episode, whatever episode number it is? I don't even know what episode number this is.
44, I think?
Really?
I think so. 43,
Okay.
44. Yeah, ramps.
44, my lucky number.
No shit?
No, not really. But maybe now.
Yeah.
It's episode ramps, or as Michael said, Allium.
Tricoccum.
You got to be careful with that one.
Yeah, you do got to be careful with it.
Whoa.
But again, it's that old standard. It's a binomial of a dead language. Say it however you want, folks. Allium Tricoccum.
That's good. I feel like it could get out of hand pretty quickly.
Tricoccum. Yeah, I'll just lean into the Chicago edge of it.
Tricoccum. The Tricoccum right there on Michigan Avenue, right down by the...
That's good. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have heard of ramps, but we do have a pretty good past with ramps. We're kind of sitting amongst them right now.
We really are. There's some about 20 feet behind me.
Yep, they're looming over your shoulder. Look out!
Whoa.
No, they're friendly.
They're not that big here.
No, they're decent size, but this is a pretty old patch, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of these ramps have had quite a few years to establish and colonize. And yeah, so let's talk. Let's talk ramp.
Let's talk about what they look like. Yeah.
So the most recognizable surface, or part of them, for once, is not going to be the flower.
Yeah.
It's their leaves, mostly because they are one of the first things to come up on the ground in the springtime. And they are also pretty distinctive. Their color is very bright. Their leaves are typically very long and straight. And I just honestly, with the contrast of all the leaves and the duff and everything that is still not quite catching up with the warmth, it's pretty obvious. They're beautiful.
It's bright. It's a bright green. Mm-hmm. So you can, just sitting where we're sitting right now, you can see ramps, you can see the bluebells, and they have, I guess, similar like tuft, but they're totally different shade of green.
Oh, yeah. The bluebells have a very distinct shade of, they have mottling purple and almost like a glaucousness to them, whereas the ramps are just straight green.
Yeah.
Green AF.
Green AF. That's a good description.
So what we're looking for is 1 to 3 long, broad leaves, about 2 inches wide at most, and they can get up to about a foot in length. So basically, if you take your hand, my hand is about 6 inches long, give or take a little bit.
I think that's...
Give a little, maybe 7 inches. I guess from the very bottom
I think you're in the...
palm.
Yeah, I think you're in the 7+ range.
So we'll... use your hand as a good guide because, that's, especially whenever we're out here, I don't always have a tape measuring device with us or anything.
Yeah.
So, I've gotten to know what my 3 fingers or 4 fingers, how that correlates to size. But, so we're looking for these long stems or these long leaves, and then their stems are red colored. So typically they're red colored. There are a couple different varieties, and especially here in the Midwest, we have, honestly, I think 3 different varieties. So there's a sub-variety of the Tricoccum, which is a white stem, but it is still Allium Tricoccum. But then there is a Tricoccum variety Burdicii, which has fatter leaves, so it's much wider. It's a pretty startlingly bigger leaf, and it has a white stem as well. But they all have that signature, whenever you travel down the plant, that signature onion bulb with the roots kind of clustered at a vascular ring on the bottom, right? And then just kind of shoot out from there. So if you've seen an onion grow roots, that's kind of what they all kind of look like, especially think of green onions. So we talk about alliums a lot on this show.
Yeah, we do.
So again, if it doesn't smell like an onion, it isn't an onion. But anything?
I think visually that about covers it. Sometimes you'll see a little a little bit of that maroon or red that's in the stem, like variegate throughout the ramp itself.
Yeah, I've seen some really cool pictures
I took a great picture the other day. Yeah, beautiful specimen.
You.
Yeah, beautiful specimen.
Wow.
Oh.
I didn't even see who posted that.
Just a little variety.
It was purple, like a purple ramp leaf. It was so cool. So if we could isolate that and separate that from the population and then continue to grow it, and as it divides underground, you're just going to get, a collection of purple leaves.
Sure.
I think that'd be really cool.
Hell yeah.
I didn't know that you posted that. So as far as where they grow, though, so these are kind of a limited species here in the U.S. They don't grow on the western portion of the U.S. So as far as territory, I guess I don't have anything specific written here. It's mostly just the eastern portion of the U.S. I'm pretty sure it's pretty far down into the south, but it is kind of a Midwest and then eastern. Like, it's very popular onion in New York and Pennsylvania. There are only a few states in which it's registered as endangered.
Almost popular to a fault in those areas. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because of the kitchen culture, the chef culture there that just puts profit over sensible harvesting. And so people pay a lot for these plants, and they are delicious. They're not the best allium, in my opinion.
I agree.
But they're just so different and kind of exceptional in their own way that it becomes kind of, what is it, like a fad or
they are, yeah.
Trendy, obviously, trendy.
Exactly. They're en vogue. So I think that that's a huge point, man. Is like these are very special things, and they're delicious. If you've ever had like a chef that I know, Jimmy Bernard, shout out, did a pho with a grilled almost to the point of char.
Oh yeah.
Like ramp, like whole ramp, sans bulb, across the top in this beautiful presentation, and it ate absolutely deliciously.
Yes,
so
they do cook very well as like a whole spring onion.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, that's exactly what they are. They're just not a spring. That's a different species technically, but that's awesome. Yeah, I've never actually had them just plain.
Oh yeah,
thrown on the ground.
Yeah, man, they're fantastic. It imparts just all that ramp flavor throughout an already flavorful broth that takes days to make, and it's just for those that truly appreciate it, it's just a special thing. So
yeah.
it's and when you can treat it like that, maybe one leaf or like 1 to 3 leaves per bowl, it's a little bit different than making a ramp pesto or something silly like. And sorry, I'm sure ramp pesto. There's some pretty good ramp pestos out there, but it's just for me, I feel like you should, if you go through the trouble of doing so much damage to a species, then it should be worth it,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, with that, we do want to remember to practice mindful harvesting. Only harvest this plant from like really populated areas. Here in Illinois, we don't really have that problem. We have old stands. It is very habitable here for them, and so they are kind of an aggressive colonizer, and so we don't really need to worry about collecting the plant so much. However, there is still tons of pig shaming online, so be mindful.
So much.
Yeah, be mindful of that whenever you share, when you collect, or whenever you think about shaming somebody else that has collected. That I think Clay Bowers brought up a really good point. I mean, he brings it up every year because we come across this every year. That don't project your ecosystem onto mine, because we do have 2 completely different landscapes, and it's up to the forager themselves to determine what is right in that area. And don't worry about the keyboard warriors telling you that you're ruining ramps because you picked 1 or 2 whole plants from an entire hillside, like where we are, undisclosed nature preserve, number 42069. It is like covered in ramps during this time of the year, just absolutely swimming in them, and that's the case in many places across Chicago area, especially when we have species like hybrid species with the white stem.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't even think that they are ramps, but they are. They're not that good, honestly. They're not as good. There are some flavor variances from the white stem to the red stem does taste better. But as far as where else these plants can grow, there are like other varieties. So it's not specifically ramps, but there are other like ramp adjacent species that grow in Japan. Even like I follow some foragers that are in Japan, and there's a much bigger, or they even have a word for it, sansai, where it's like the tiny vegetables, and that's just kind of what they call all wild vegetables. It's like the sansai, and I guess it's most commonly referred to with the hostas.
Sure.
Because that's they eat that a lot over in Japan, and we don't eat it as much over here. It's still new to a lot of people that you can eat that. But they have their ramps over there. I think there's, obviously wild onions all over the place, but the specific, visual qualities of these two broad leafy leaves coming out of a red stem, and it's kind of like a tube almost.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so cute that they call everything, all their tiny veg, sansai.
Yeah. It's kind of a general term.
Yeah.
I love it. It's definitely a hashtag I follow. It's lots of, and just the kind of like aesthetic quality. Yonder is, it's very cool. Their natural scene is hopping. Very cool. Anyway, with that, there's a couple really cool little facts about ramps that are important to us in here in Chicago. I think I'll deal with one of them right now. That's the namesake of Chicago. Is the what is it? There's a Native American language for the wild leek, for that plant itself, was called Chicaquah, and it was used. It's still currently used by Cherokee people for all sorts of medicinal reasons. The Iroquois have a tonic of the plant that treats intestinal worms, and it's just always been an important food source for Native people up here, and so much so that this entire region was kind of like named after it. So
I love it.
Do you have a favorite recipe?
I like to keep it simple.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot to them. Just a little bit of salt and olive oil, a tiny bit of black pepper. That's how little I like to do it, because black pepper is my jam, and I take it easy just because I love that flavor of the ramps. My preference is the leaf over the bulb. And I think it's great, man. I love your ramp butter.
Yes, last year I mixed it with Morels, and that's actually been on reserve for a while. I need to bust it out and use the heck out of it. So yeah, let's take a break, and then we'll come back in the second half with some nutrients and some medicinal stuff, and I'll talk about how what my favorite part of the plant is, and or my favorite recipe rather. So, heck yeah.
Sigh.
What's wrong, buddy?
Well, I just realized this mushroom supplement I bought isn't actually made with mushrooms. It's made with something called myceliated grain.
Myceliated grain?
Oh no!
I'm sorry to tell you, buddy, but myceliated grain is a sure sign of a poor quality mushroom supplement.
Well, dang. I wanted mushrooms, not brown rice. What should I do?
Well, you should support a small batch producer from right here in the Midwest. Keweenaw Apothecary.
Keweenaw Apothecary? Tell me more.
Keweenaw Apothecary specializes in high-quality mushroom extracts from Michigan, and they always use real mushrooms, never myceliated grain.
That sounds like exactly what I've been looking for. Where can I order?
Well, you can find them at keweenawapothecary.etsy.com. That's KEWEENAW apothecary.etsy.com. Be sure to read their many excellent reviews.
Thanks, buddy. I don't want no low-quality mushroom products from a factory. I want Keweenaw Apothecary.
Wowie wow! Oh, hey, Steve.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Well, what's wrong, buddy?
Well, I just got this new water bottle, but it just looks so plain.
Well, have I got the store for you. Introducing the Wild Edible World Podcast Merch Store.
Wowie wow!
It's the merch store where you can get all of your favorite podcasts merch for all your decorating purposes.
How do I find that?
Go to wildedibleworldpod.shopify.com or go to any of our Instagram and media accounts and view the link in the bio. Wowie wow!
Setting. Two handsome gentlemen straddling a log, a bowl of dressed dandelion greens in front of them, a woodpecker singing a song. Welcome back to the second half of the Wild Edible World podcast ramp episode.
You've entered the ramp zone. Welcome back, folks. It's beautiful out here. We've been hanging out with a woodpecker this whole time that's been whooping and hollering.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Beautiful bird. He or she.
I meant to go grab a couple ramp leaves that we could munch on for this section, but we'll do that in a second. I'll start off with the little bit of the drier stuff and talk about the vitamins that you can find in this wonderful plant, because it is loaded with vitamin K, C, A, and B6, and then also has lots of iron and magnesium, which also so there's studies been done on the quantities of manganese that it has on it, which can help reduce like PMS symptoms, cramping, and stuff like that.
Wow!
But it's also loaded with vitamin C, and the studies say that it's up to 2 times by weight compared to oranges. So it's got more vitamin C than oranges. And then the normal, the thing that you can associate with all alliums, why they smell the way they do, is because of a specific compound called allicin, I'm not sure how to say it, Allicin.
I like Allison.
Allison, yeah.
Allison.
Yeah, it just sounds like somebody you know? Real friendly.
Like Elvis Costello.
Nobody's afraid of an Allison. Part of what you smell in garlic is a beneficial sulfur compound that imbues antimicrobial and cholesterol-lowering properties. So, anytime you smell an allium, that's what you're smelling. And so it's, medicine is food, and that's just another one of those ways of like kind of reaffirming that this is a medicinal plant as much as it is delitional.
Yes, delitional and nutritional.
Medicinal and delitional. It's full of soluble fiber too, which helps you feel full for longer. So that's always kind of cool whenever you're looking to lose weight or whatever.
I mean, fiber just does magical things for you.
Obviously, that's
could go down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Yeah,
yeah, it's not the only thing it's good for.
Lots of good things. Fiber, we got your back.
Yeah, for sure. We fuck with fiber.
Yeah. Alongside with that, the Cherokee used to use this plant as a spring tonic. So to fight like colds or croup, things like that. So if you think about it, there's lots of like wives' tales about people taking a slice. I don't know if you've ever heard this. Maybe
put it on your feet.
Put it on your feet. Yeah, take a slice of onion, put it on your feet, or have a halved onion next to your bedside if you're not feeling well. And so this checks out, except you're getting it in your system.
Yeah, totally.
And it's delicious.
Yeah, dandelion salad is molto bene.
Just because you're teasing everyone with the dandelion salad, I'll tell you, this is a salad I made from one single dandelion crown.
No.
Yeah,
this is huge.
I know, it's gigantic, and I crammed it in that bowl. One single dandelion crown. I took the petals and I used it in a vinaigrette using a little bit of olive oil, Michael's handmade apple cider vinegar, just a touch of black pepper, salt, and a little bit of honey, lemon zest, and it is fan-effing-tastic.
Yeah, out of this world. Done and dusted. Out of this world. And there's also decoctions that it's been used historically where you boil the roots down, and that can induce vomiting. So there's record of that as well. But yeah, it was an important plant, and it still very much is an important plant for Native people, and just for all of us that live up here in the Great Lakes area, in the Appalachias, and on the eastern coast, where it is also very popular. So, really cool plant. Hope you guys find some of it this year. I guess we're gonna pause for a second, then we're gonna go find some, and then we'll talk about the vapors. We have returned with the leaves.
Ramps in hand.
The leaves of destiny. So I'm gonna start. I think at the. We just took one leaf each, a little bit of red stemming at the base of it, and the kind of red color continues up the back single middle rib that it's got. But yeah, already smells. I smell I'm nice and congested. Awesome. Smells really good.
It does smell really good.
Smells better than the white stemmed ones. The white stemmed ones smell kind of grassy to me. So yeah, we'll start on the stem. Take a little nibble.
It's so good, dude.
I mean, it's not that they're bad. Just because I say there's a better one, that there's better alliums, doesn't mean that this is bad by any means.
I also want to make reference to me talking shit about ramp pesto earlier. Do whatever the fuck you want. I was just going off because I really like to preserve the ingredient, but do whatever you want. I'm not here to pesto shame people. I love pesto. Some of my best friends are pesto. Also, I was just sitting here twirling this leaf, trying to think of other delicious uses for it, and that made me think of the pesto.
Yeah, so recently Black Forager Alexis Nichols posted a video where she salt infused essentially, so she just kind of stuck it in a bunch of salt and then dehydrated them together. You'll have to watch it again, or watch it for the first time if you haven't seen it, because it's a really cool way of really, really preserving that into a salt. And they're mostly whole leaves, and they are just like encrusted in salt, and then you basically just crumble them over whatever you want, or in your popcorn or whatever you're trying to serve them with, and it is still very infused with ramp flavor. That's a really fun way to do it. Another way, it's just probably a step away from being as bad as pesto, Steve, so don't attack me, but it's the butter. It's making a composite butter with the ranch stuff. That's something I do every single year. It's not the most creative by any means.
It's a great use. It's a great use.
It's another one of those factors where it's like you're utilizing the fats to absorb all the fragrant qualities, and it's just a really excellent way to deliver onion, no matter what it is. So,
agreed. It
does help really preserve the quality of that ingredient and everything. What else is there to do with it? Honestly, yeah, just sauteing them whole.
You can get creative. It's a leafy green. There's so many things, right?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things that I tried recently, after I read about it in Alan Burgo's book Flora, was the soy sauce fermented ramps. So basically, soy sauce has a high enough salinity content that you can use it for fermenting. So basically, what you do is you just you cube up like 1-inch squares of just like one handful of ramp leaves. And then I used a bottle of tamari, and you just pour that in a dish, combine the two, kind of stir them up, and then put a lid on it and let it ferment. Not airtight, so you shouldn't use a jar or anything, but kind of like a loose lid so that the active fermentation process can still happen. That needs oxygen. It does not happen in a vacuum. So, well, it can happen in a vacuum. I digress. Continue to let it ferment, and that just takes like 1 week, and it is going to be the most dank soy sauce you will ever have. It was so difficult for me to not use the entire bottle very, very quickly.
What'd you use it on?
Oh, I mean, first time we met for the podcast, I served us dumplings with it.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So there's that. Just about anywhere you would use soy sauce, honestly. It's a great addition. I would put it in my stir-fry sauce mix.
I'd like to dip a little sushi in that.
That's what I'm saying.
That sounds lovely.
It's out of this world. So especially because, and then the tamari, in my opinion, a little deeper, a little bit more genuine. So it kind of kicks it up a little bit of a notch. So with that being said, we'll take a little bit of nibble on the leaf.
That was
It's
weird.
so
That was
funny.
a weird. That was a weird nibble sound. That's how he nibbles all the time, though.
Yeah.
I never had the I never had the courage to say anything until now. Yeah.
Wow. So the leaf is a lot slower of a come on, honestly. So it tastes like green onion to start, and then it just gets that like real hot, fresh onion. If you eat like red onion on a burger, it's like, it's like spicy in the way that radish is spicy, right? Like
Yeah.
onion spicy. So it's not like hot, but it's got that zing to it.
Yeah.
So really good.
I guess just touching a little bit more on the conservation piece, because we just took a leaf, being responsible fellas.
let's dip into that.
So let's just dip on that one more time.
Yeah, yeah.
If you are looking to, not that there aren't enough videos out there, if you are looking to be very cautious, maybe in your area ramps are few and far between, one leaf per plant, assuming it has 2 or more leaves.
I mean, honestly, it's one leaf per every 3 plants, really.
Yeah.
So it's like you see, and try to focus on the plants that have 3 leaves compared to the ones that have 1 or 2, because then they'll still have about as much as their competing alliums to photosynthesize, right?
Yeah.
Because they still need to complete their part of the life cycle.
And if you're not in one of those habitats, I guess the biggest thing that I would suggest is just being familiar with your area. The area that Michael and I are currently in, we know intimately. And so we know what the patch is doing. We know if it's looking a little sparse. We know if it's looking a little crowded and maybe needs to be harvested a little bit.
Yep.
So if you don't know the area, then just tread carefully, tread lightly. And if you do know the area, then you know what's best, you know?
Yeah, usually. And if a good rule of thumb, too, that's going to become a little bit more common knowledge once Sam Thayer's work gets published and a couple other people write their own articles about it. There's a lot of research being done by a lot of excellent, very reputable foragers that have their own plots. And honestly, the evidence from farmers who have been selling this crop for a very, very long time. As a farmer, you do not want to harvest your crops in a way that depletes your return yield, right? So you're not going to damage your crops by harvesting in a way that makes you get less next year. So a lot of those techniques kind of boil down to, and this is, as usual, it is kind of oversimplifying it again. So with a grain of salt that you're taking into mind your own personal ecosystem, is that 5 plants per every square foot is the best. That is the most optimal way. So if you have sometimes, in the patches where we are, there are 12 plants crammed into a square foot.
Easily.
So you can take up to 4 or 5 of those plants as long as, you look around, there's 30 more patches within jumping distance with that many ramps in each of those little sections, honestly, then you can leave about 5 per square foot in some places and be able to take the whole plant and have it be regenerative, because they are stressing each other out. Those ramps that you leave behind will grow twice as big the next year. They'll fill in those spaces. And if they're mature enough, whenever they flower and they drop seeds, you've disturbed the area around those plants, which increases the chance of germination. Mm-hmm. So it's just another one of those ways where we really do have the data and the math to show that foraging responsibly and, following some guidelines, foraging is very regenerative and it is not harmful at all. Even though you're taking an entire plant for the entire colony, it is incredibly healthy.
And if you say otherwise, you come find me.
Yeah, come at us. Come with those hands. We know people.
We got woodpeckers on our side.
Yeah, we're regular Disney princes over here. That's who you're beefing with.
That's right.
Disney princesses.
Cute little guys.
Think about that.
Cute little Disney princesses.
Cute little dudes.
Prince and princess. Yes.
So I think with that's a very nice full ramp episode for us.
I think so. Let's eat some more of the salad.
And let's eat some more of this salad. And then we got a couple surprises coming for you guys in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be doing some collaborations with some local people near us.
But for now, they're secrets.
Terms of service. And but yeah, we got some maybe consumable products coming to you soon. But we love you guys. We hope you enjoy this episode.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.